Everybody, thank you for coming along to watch this Facebook Live. It's the first one that I've done, so a little nervous, I guess. Here to answer any questions that you may have. I am going to do my very best to answer as many as I can. If I don't manage to get through them all, please drop us a message, and more than happy to come on afterwards and have a separate chat with you. Thank you, Mark. I'm aware I look lovely. It's nice to see you on here. Okay, so let's crack off with what this is all about. So we're obviously living in unusual times, let's say, at this moment in time. It's not something that I don't think any of us have probably come across in our lifetimes. Hopefully it doesn't come again. But we, as a letting agent and an estate agent, we have obviously managed quite a few rental properties, and have got quite a few properties going through in sales. Hi, Andy. We're getting asked lots and lots of questions about what's happening with property sales. We're getting tenants asking us lots of questions about rentals. So I just wanted to see if we can address as many as I could in one space, and it happens to be on Facebook Live. I hope that's okay. So I am going to type in my screen as well while I'm in front of me. The first thing I'm probably going to cover, obviously the biggest thing going on, is employment. Some of you may be key workers, in which case your job is great. So we've got an Ocado factory here that's classed as a warehouse that's classed as key workers. So all those people are employed, so there's no problems there. But obviously there's a lot of others, whether you're working at JLR or wherever it is, there are lots of others where people aren't working. So one of the biggest things that's come up, and that's also affected us as well at Next Place, is furlough workers. It might be a term that nobody's ever heard of before, but it's now something that's, I think, a lot of people are now on. For those of you that don't understand what a furloughed worker is, essentially it is the government have put in place a scheme to protect employees. So at a difficult time, the easiest thing for an employee to do is just completely leave or let their employees go, because that's the quickest and easiest cost. But what the government have done is they're helping employers such as myself to retain their workers for when we come out at the back end of this, to retain their employment and to carry on in business. So there's a term that's come along called furlough, which is from America. Essentially what the government have done is they have guaranteed, if you like, jobs at the end of this process. So initially for 3 months, but a furlough worker is someone where they get furloughed and they get 80% of their salary for staying at home, essentially. They're still employed by the business, the government will pay them, the company has to submit a claim to HMRC. So although this furlough worker thing has come along and is really common now, and you may know someone that has been furloughed if you haven't yourself, the government portal still isn't set up online and running. But it will be soon. The employers this month, or at least we've had to pay our normal salary this month, and then hopefully be able to claim it back next month. But that's obviously had a few knock-on effects with people that are renting and people that are buying properties or selling properties. I just want to cover some of those off if I can, if that's okay with you. So I asked for, on some of my posts on some of the social media places that we've been to or we've been on, I'll take them off so I'm not glaring the screen. We asked for questions on some of those public forums, and I've also sent out an email asking if anybody had any questions, and we've had quite a few come back. Hopefully some of them will be relevant to you guys, but as I said, you can also message me and you can ask any questions on this chat. hopefully I can respond to them and I can see them. Not doing a great job at the moment because I can't see them on my screen, but I'll do my very best. So the first one I'm going to answer is from someone called Chris. His question is: I'm a furloughed worker receiving 80% of my salary. Do I have to pay my full rent? The short answer is yes, because under your AST you have a legal obligation to pay a set amount of rent each month. However, what we've experienced with some of our landlords, and I'll shout out big up to Helen and Luke on this one, who have proactively contacted us and said, look, if tenants have got any problems, then please come back and let us know. We can certainly help them out, and that's been awesome. So big up to some of the great landlords out there. So yes, Chris, in answer to your question, yes, you are still responsible for the rent. The caveat that I'm going to put into that is please pay as much as you can, and I'd have a conversation. If you're direct to your landlord, have a conversation with the landlord, or if you're with a letting agent, speak to your letting agent, because I'm sure they're going to be sympathetic, or for the most part anyway. Please pay as much as you can, because it's still going to be money that you owe at the end or during your tenancy. So what we've done with some of ours that have asked for some assistance, and the people have only come to us that are obviously asking for assistance, is we tell them to pay as much as they can, and then we've spoken to our landlords, and anything that they are not about able to pay. So as an example, if the rent is 700 and they can pay 600 right now, is that 100 that's still owed, but we're going to set up a payment plan to defer that through the tenancy. Obviously, if you can pay it, please pay it. Don't just ask for it just because you think you can get away with 100 quid or whatever it is. The money is still going to be owed. So please pay as much as you can. On the back of that, you may have heard the term about mortgage holidays. The mortgage holidays, hi Kelly, mortgage holidays are there for people that are in financial hardship. Again, it's not just one of those things that, oh, I want to stop paying my mortgage for a few months and I'll pocket it. Again, it's all it's done is deferred. So if your mortgage is, say, £700 a month, as an example, and you have a mortgage holiday for 3 months, that's 2,100. All that's going to happen is that 3 months is then going to be put onto your mortgage amount, and you're going to end up paying interest on that 2,100 for the rest of the mortgage term. So it's actually in your interest and cheaper to pay as much as you can while you can. However, if you are struggling slightly, then with the mortgage companies, they are for mortgage holidays. If you're not a buy-to-let person, you're a normal homeowner like myself, is speak to your mortgage company. Now, bear in mind that a lot of people are off, and a lot of people in those jobs are in call centres, so they're obviously not working right now, but they are working from home. I spoke to a mortgage person earlier on, and what they've said is, in the first few days of all this happening, Halifax had 100,000 applications for a mortgage holiday. That's a lot for them to process. So the best thing to do is, if you do need a mortgage holiday, is go online to your mortgage and request it online. Now, I've also been told it's not a guarantee that you're actually going to get it, but it's more than likely, because to try and process, let's just say Halifax, try and process 100,000 applications in such a short space of time is going to be damn near impossible. So if you put it online, if you meet certain criteria, I take it or I've been told that they're taking the view, the mortgage lenders are, that if you're applying for a mortgage holiday, then you're in some financial hardship. It may be just go and do it. Bear in mind that you are going to it's going to be added to your term, but don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Only do it if you can't really afford it for whatever reason at the moment. I would also say on that point is, don't sit there and just bottle it all up. There's plenty of people out there. Citizens Advice can probably give you some assistance. In fact, they've got a specific website set up, citizensadvice.org.uk/debt. dash and dash money. Oh God, I might just search for it online. If you can't pay your bills because of coronavirus. Now, obviously, this is all around coronavirus. It's not just if you're just out of work or you don't want to pay your mortgage or whatever it is. It's all specifically around coronavirus. There are loads of grants and things out there. The government have slacked on a number of their applications for things. They're offering small business grants, so we have a small business grant. There's loads of things out there that the council are doing. When we've had, I'm just writing questions down as they come in, by the way. The government are there to help you. The guys, if you're one of our tenants, then you can get in touch and speak to Laura or one of the guys in the lettings team just to give some advice. But one of the big issues at the minute is if you're self-employed, what you're going to do. You can apply for universal credit. That's going to take 6 weeks to come through. There's loads of things out there, so please go and check it out. So that's Chris. I hope that's answered your question. You're getting paid 80% of your salary as a furloughed worker. Yes, you've still got a legal obligation to pay the rent. Pay as much as you can is the answer. Let's just see if there are some others coming on. So, in my opinion, do I expect the crisis to affect property values? I haven't got a crystal ball, unfortunately. We were obviously recovering, recession, then that all got better, then we got Brexit. We've got to have a Brexit. I say bring back Brexit. But what I would say is, I don't know, is the honest answer. The prices are still really strong. Before all this happened, there's still people at this moment wanting to view properties, wanting to rent properties. We've got mortgage applications still going in. The rates are still really good. So at the moment, I'm really optimistic that we're going to come out the back end of this and everything's going to carry on fantastically. Okay, so Hannah, just saw your message. I'm a private tenant. Is there any help with paying rent periodically? Do you know if we'd have, like mortgage lenders are offering, a 3-month holiday? Just going back to what I already said, Hannah, just check back earlier on the video, but essentially you're still responsible for paying your rent, regardless of how much it is. Speak to your landlord or speak to your the letting agency that you're with. They will hopefully be able to assist you. Give me a call. If anybody's got any questions, by the way, on any of this that we're going to go through that we don't answer during this, please feel free to drop me a message, anton@next-place.co.uk, message us through the Facebook page, go onto our website, click on the WhatsApp button and send us a WhatsApp, or just give us a call, 01827 50 700. So let's get back to the questions I've already had. This one's from Maria. Is it possible for my house sale to complete with the current situation? Or the current conditions? I've actually had a couple of these come through in various different guises too. So to be honest with you, it's dependent upon the status of your property. Again, speaking to a solicitor, just seeking their advice on what they've been advised to do, is if you're not in a chain, if the property that you're buying is empty, if it's an investment property that's tenanted, if it's a HMO. So essentially, if I'm not moving into a house and then they're moving into a house and then they're moving into a house in a chain, then if it's not that, then you should be able to still go ahead with your purchase and your sale. Solicitors may put some blockers up, but it's worth having a real good chat with them. The estate agents are also just trying to get sales through as well. So everybody's working to the same goal to get sales through. The problem that you may have is with removals. So Move Assured and the British Association of Removers have, and again I've spoken to a couple of removal companies as well, is they've been told to cancel all work. Because of what's happening, because if they're carrying a fridge or a telly or whatever, they're not achieving the social distancing of 2 meters apart, so they've been told to cancel any jobs that they've got. However, the rental companies, car rental companies, are classed as key workers, or like Morrison's, a shop. They're still open, so you can still rent a van and you can move yourself. Again, caveating that, as long as it's with the people that you're living with, don't start cross-contaminating, because all this that we're doing is about I keep seeing the things pop on my screen. I keep losing my track. All this is about containment and controlling the coronavirus and protecting our NHS. So if you are going to move, please do it with the people that you live with. Don't start asking people and friends and family to come and help you, because all then you're doing is then spreading it out a bit. But in answer to your question, yes, you can move still, dependent upon the current situation. And if you are going to move, then it maybe you get your own van to actually do it. So let's move on to Simon, who's raised a question. So this is about mortgages. So you may have heard that the government have shut down mortgages and mortgage companies aren't lending. That's incorrect. The mortgage companies are still out there actively lending. We've had people put in mortgage applications this week on properties. But what is happening is about the surveys. So actually right now, if you're looking to remortgage, now is a really good time to look at your finances and remortgage, assess what life cover you've got in place, and all that kind of stuff, to see what you're covered for. But Simon's question: I've made an offer on a property. My mortgage valuation hasn't gone ahead yet. What will happen? So mortgage companies are allowing people to still submit applications, depending upon your loan to value. So some have, if you've got less than a 40% deposit. Some are just not accepting applications. Others are accepting applications, but waiting for the valuation. So they're going ahead. They're on hold, but waiting for the valuation to happen. Obviously, surveyors can't go into occupied properties to do a mortgage valuation, and because of spreading it and everything else. So if it's an empty property, we have had some happen where the property is empty and mortgage valuations have happened. But outside of that, they are putting a hold on valuations right now. If you have a deposit of 40% or more, then some lenders are doing desktop valuations, which is basically someone assessing your application, sitting at a desktop, and deciding, right, yeah, it's worth what you're paying for it or not. So, yes, some sales are going ahead. Somebody that's slightly further along, so I've had a couple of questions on this one as well, is I'm currently purchasing a property, will that still continue? So in this case, survey's been done, everything's been done, it's on the legal side. So obviously with legals, you've got solicitor on either side, you may have a chain, you've got to have searches done, so local with the council, and water and drainage, coal if you're in Tamworth, environmental, all those kinds of things. A lot of those searches are done remotely. Some of the others are, so the council search or the local search are done by the council, so it depends if the council are working. Now obviously a lot of their staff aren't working, so that may slow down the sale a bit, but essentially yes, things are still going ahead. Solicitors are still working from home and trying to get deals over the line. Let's just have a look at, so you get one from the screen before they go away. Hi Anton, just accepted an offer on my property. The property we are planning to buy has not yet passed through probate. Do you think it will find it difficult to obtain a new mortgage for this? We are both on furlough. Okay, that's a really unusual one. Jules Holland, I'm assuming not the Jules Holland because it's spelled differently, but Jules, the answer to the questions I don't know. You are going to have to speak to your mortgage advisor about the mortgage. If you're a first-time buyer or got nothing to sell and that property is empty, on probate obviously has to go through a process. So probate's going to have to be granted before you are able to proceed anyway. Again, it depends on if that department is specifically working or not as to whether that can help. So bear with me a second, I'm just going to look through some of the other messages that we've had. The property is empty. Okay, so obviously you've got to go through the mortgage application, the mortgage valuation. You've got to get the mortgage offer. You've got to go through all the searches. Probate's got to be granted. So there's quite a few things that have got to happen there, Jules, before you can move on. But it possibly could go through, depending on what happens when the lockdown is reviewed in, I think it's a week on Monday as well, going forward. Thanks everybody for watching, by the way. I'll do my best to get through the majority of these for you. So I've seen a couple pop up. So this is from Joy. Hi Joy. If tenants pay less than the actual rent due each month, what arrangements can be put in place for the arrears to be repaid for the landlord? So as I've said earlier on, Joy, the tenants still have a legal responsibility to pay their rent. Hi Manish, how are you? So essentially what's going to happen is they've still got to pay it back. It's going to be arrears. You need to set up a payment plan to manage those arrears between yourself and the tenant, or between the landlord, yourself and the tenant. Hope that helps. Ian has asked the question, Ian Van Arcady. Hi Ian. Can a summary of the questions and the answers be published on the website and Facebook page afterwards? I'll try my very best. There's quite a few comments going on the on this live, so I'll try my best to do that as much as I can. Right, a couple of other questions that I've got down here. So this was from Sarah. In fact, I've already answered this one. This was one that spurred the whole thing, to be completely honest. So her landlord has given her 3 months' notice to quit, or wants her out in 3 months. Can they do it? The short answer is yes, they can. So what the government have done is they have extended the section notices from 2 months to 3 months, just to give it an extra month. All evictions have been put on hold during this period, but essentially they can still ask for their property back. Now, in your case, I know that the landlord has returned from abroad and he's living with family, so he's got nowhere to go. I'll probably say that if a landlord's giving notice to somebody at the moment, then it's probably a little bit mean, but they've got a genuine reason to do so. But essentially, all that's happened is the government have extended the period of notice from 2 months to 3 months. There was a question from Mark. Hi Anton, I'm ready to complete on a buy-to-let. I'm purchasing. How is demand for rental at the moment? Shall I hold off on the purchase? So, Mark, two answers to that really. The demand for rentals is still bonkers. We've still got people wanting to view literally all the time. We've had a couple of tenants give notice, and we've put the properties back up for rent because they're already on the system, and we've just got people queuing up. We haven't got enough people we can't get the door open quick enough to get people through the door. The other answer to your question is the demand is great, but we can't show many properties, so we can't go out and physically do viewings. We have been doing video viewings, so we've let some properties based on video viewings. We've been doing viewings on sales properties based on some of the videos that we've got on our system, and also from the landlords, tenants, actually, and vendors have generated for us. So we are doing virtual viewings, which is going down really well. Also, there was a question I saw, Andy, I think right at the start, ask, are we still doing valuations? Yes, we are. So we're doing a remote seller advice. So that basically means we'll have a conversation with you over the telephone and face to face via video, and that's working really, really well at the moment. Some of the viewings that we've done based on that have actually resulted in offers for let and offers for sale. So let's just have a look through the questions. Andy, are surveyors still allowed to access or to allow us to survey property? Come back to my other question or my other answer. Yes, they can. If the property is empty and if the survey company want to do that. Please send some more questions. I've got a couple more to go through that I've got written down, and I'm just going to go through the screen. So if you need anything. Mark, Maya, thank you. Yes, I do look lovely. That's great. Thank you very much. Thanks, Andy. Can we offer valuations? Yes, we can. Daz Ager, clap for the Sainsbury's drivers. Well, actually, clap to anybody that's still working, to be honest, keeping us going. So whether that's people supplying food. So we've got an Aldi depot here. We've got Waitrose. So if you're getting your Ocado, so if you're getting your Morrison's deliveries coming through, or the Asda drivers, the Sainsbury's drivers, the Aldi drivers, anybody that's working to keep us going, that's awesome. Thank you. As well as obviously the frontline staff, not forgetting the police, fire, ambulance, literally everybody that's working. Thank you for your for what you're doing. Hi Michelle. Hi Kelly. Anton, what's your opinion on property market? We've talked about that. Hi Anton, if you're on low income or furloughed, can you get top up from Universal Credit? Hi Lee Chandler, thanks for your email, your message. His message is, if you're on low income or furloughed, can you get top up from Universal Credits? This should help with rent payments. So I've actually spoken to the hi Mike. I've actually spoken to the council regarding this, just to see what they're. Oh, and Sean, hi Sean as well, and care workers. You're right, thank you, Michael. I've spoken to the council on behalf of people, just in case they haven't done so. Oh yeah, oil terminal workers as well. Sorry, Ray. I just want to say, and caveat everything that I'm doing here, is this. I'm not pretending to be the oracle. I'm just trying to pass on the information that hopefully that I might have collated to people that don't know. So I've spoken to the council regarding what tenants or anybody should be doing if they're on a reduced income or loss of income. And they basically said if anybody has a reduced income or loss of income, they can apply for universal credit to top up, and they can do a separate form for council tax reduction. A high loop with Michelle as well. So I don't know what that actually means, but essentially they're open to... sorry, I might have clocked off then. So they're open to potentially looking to do something. I guess it's on as and when, not as and when, as you come in, talk about your position, and they'll tell you what you can do. Now, obviously, the council's closed right now, but you can email them. So I've been in through their website. I think it was inquiries@tamworth.gov.uk. Yeah, and they will respond. They've responded pretty quick. Michael just put one up. If you're on furlough, can I work elsewhere? No. So, okay. So if you're furloughed, then you are actually still employed by the company that's furloughed you. So you're at their, you're there ready for them to come back. Now the minimum amount of furlough is 3 weeks, but essentially you're someone that's, I'm not going to say sitting at home, but you're sitting at home. If you've got kids, then I can't wait to get back to work. Sorry, Joe and the kids. But essentially, if you're furloughed, you're getting paid 80% of your wage to sit at home and wait for the call to come back into work. If you've got 2 jobs and you're furloughed from one and not the other, then carry on. You're obviously still getting paid 100% of your wage from job number 2. Hi, we've done Hannah. We've done Jules. Hi, Sam. Hope you're okay. Thanks, James. Excellent knowledge. Mark, I think we've answered yours about a buy-to-let that you're purchasing. Thank you, Darren. Come across really well. Hi, Mark Tolbert. Sorry, hopefully the light... didn't realise, hope the light's not bouncing off and blinding you. If you're on furlough, answer that, Mike. Okay, Kelly, thanks. Why your mouth up? So, as far as I can see, that is all the questions that I've been sent. I think I've answered most of your questions, hopefully. If you're self-employed, I did mean to mention the self-employed people as well. You're having a really tough time. You're going to have to speak to somebody about the money that you guys can get. If you're a director of a company, so I know there's a lot of sort of maintenance companies that are single directors, you can furlough yourself and pay yourself 80% of your salary that you're paying through PAYE, by the way, not of dividends. So not if you're paying yourself at £800 a month and then topping it with dividends, that doesn't work. Anybody else have any questions? I'll hang around for a few minutes. I hope that's been of use, people, by the way. I haven't wasted your time. So, I've had another question in from Samantha. I'm assuming your name's Samantha. How long does a mortgage offer last for, please? Depends on the company, generally 3 months. The mortgage companies, if you can't complete during this next period, then the mortgage companies are extending mortgage offers. for, I believe, up to 3 months. I've been told by some solicitors. Again, that's something that you have to check out with your solicitor. You're paying your solicitor to do a job. They also act on behalf of the mortgage lender, so they'll be able to advise you. I do know, having spoken to a solicitor yesterday, that when they're getting through, it's also taking them a few hours to try and get through to have their questions answered over the phone. So bear with them. Your sale process will still be progressing through the searches, inquiries, and everything else that's going on. If it does get extended, then generally in practice, mortgage offers get extended all the time anyway. This is just a very different situation. Okay, Ray was actually messaging me, a chap called Ray was messaging me earlier on. I said I'm going to give him a call afterwards because he had a bit of a complex situation. Not everybody can't answer every question in depth. Might have to do a little bit of research on some stuff, but if you've got any specific questions that need more of a yes, no, here's an answer, then as I say, feel free to get in touch. Ray had a really unusual situation that he's, I think he said I could share. Let me just double check. I don't want to get given his information away. He's looking to move back to... I've just seen another couple come through as well, so bear with me. Oh, hi, Mike Nettleton. So we're currently in the process of exchanging contracts. The buyer of my property is still keen to complete a move, and their removal company is still happy to move them. The person I'm buying from is going into rented and happy to continue. There's some other bits on there that we don't need to discuss, but essentially, if everybody's happy, then it could go ahead. Some mortgage companies are saying no, they're not going to do it because it doesn't meet with the things, and some solicitors as well, because it doesn't meet with the government guidance that they've been set. So essentially, regarding completion, you should speak to your A, estate agent, B, solicitors to see what they can do. Dina, hi. I'm due to complete the end of May. Will mortgage transfer chats work? Yes, there's no reason why it wouldn't. Banks are all still open. There's no issues with the banks at all. So it will continue as normal. Just the question will be when it can complete. Furlough workers can volunteer for the NHS and help elderly if they so wish. Yes, they can. So they can do unpaid work and voluntary work. Now, randomly, they also cannot do any training unless they're paid at least national minimum wage to do it, which is a bit odd. But go on and look for yourself on that one. Mike, it was on the news. I haven't watched the news today. I've been too busy preparing my answers for all the questions, Michael. Sorry if I've missed out on a couple of things today. So if anybody's got any more questions, I'll just hang on here and shut up for a second, just see if any more come through. Thanks everybody for watching. There's been a few on. I hope some of your questions have been answered. Again, please feel free to either drop me a line, anton@next-place.co.uk. You can message us through Facebook. You can message us through our website, through WhatsApp. You can call us. Here's the phone. We're still answering our work phones at work. So you can get in touch with us any manner of ways. We're here. Our normal office opening hours are 9 to 6, Saturday 9 to 4. If you want to view any properties, then we can do some with videos. If you want a virtual meeting regarding selling your property, then we can do that too. When do we think we'll be back to normality? I don't know, Michael. As soon as possible, hopefully. I'd like to go to the pub. I'd like to go and see my mum. I'd like to go out for a meal. Any other questions? Well, I guess not. Thank you for being with me in my living room. The kids have been quiet. Great. Thank you very much, Joanne, for looking after the kids. Thank you to all you that are helping us stay alive. that by staying in your home, thanks to all those that are providing essential services to us, NHS, all the workers that we've already mentioned. We'll see you soon. If anybody has any other questions, then message me. I might even do another Facebook Live if we've got enough questions to be able to do it. Thanks for your time, and stay safe. Watch out for the rest of my videos.